Good morning, guys. Hope you're having a great day. We're going to get ELA started today using a Latin root. Have you ever heard of that? It's not a root like you pull up out of the ground that a tree grows, but it's like a root word or a base word. And some of the root words that we use in English come from Latin, an old language that really nobody speaks anymore, but a lot of words come from it, maybe a lot of medical words especially. But the word we're looking at today is lumen. Lumen. Many English words have roots that come from Greek or Latin. A root is a basic word part that carries meaning. Knowing the meaning of the Greek and Latin roots can help readers understand the meanings of many different words that contain the same roots. So we see over here in our little knowledge chart or bubble map, whatever you want to call it, what does lumen mean? It means light. It means light. Now, can you think of our two vocabulary words this week that have lumen in them? How about illuminate? When something lights up an area because it gives off light, or luminous, when something that gives off light is luminous. So two of our vocabulary words have this Latin root lumen in it. Here's some more words that use the Latin word lumen. Luminescent, it's glowing. If something is luminescent, it's giving off light, it's glowing. Luminary, something to light up something. Bioluminescent, have you ever heard of that? Bio means life, and lumen means light. Can you think of something that's alive that gives off light? How about a lightning bug or a firefly? And deep down at the bottom of the ocean, I saw a really cool show the other day on the History Channel, or probably Nature Channel, or Discovery, something like that. Deep down at the bottom of the ocean, there's these animals that live down there. They're bioluminescent. They give off light in the darkness of the bottom of the ocean. They were pretty creepy looking and pretty cool too. Okay, so Latin root lumen means light. We'll look at some more Latin roots throughout this year. All right, we've talked a lot about text structure over the last 3 or 4 weeks. We've looked at different things about how stories are set up. And we looked at ours the other day, the text structure of an informational text, like the science behind sight. It has a lot of headings and subheadings. It has a lot of big, bold, capital letters to tell you this is most important. And so an informational text is like that. But different stories have different text structures. Some stories would be comparing and contrasting. Have you ever seen a Venn diagram like this one? Sometimes your teachers might have had you do that. You write everything that's alike about two things in the middle where the circles cross each other, and then everything that's different about the two things in the parts that don't touch. And the purpose of that kind of text structure would be to describe how things are alike and how they are different. Part of our text, our focal text for writing, when we looked at apex predators, part of it was compare and contrast, wasn't it? He compared animals of today to animals of many years ago. Transition words you would see in this kind of text would be but, both, however, and. Some stories might be written with a text structure of cause and effect. Cause and effect, you know what that is. The purpose of that would be to explain what happened and why it happened. And transition words would be because, so, in order to, and as a result. And then another one could be sequence. A lot of stories have this sequence text structure. First this happened, then this happened, next this happened, and finally last this happened. It explains events in order. We kind of learn social studies in that order, don't we? First there was the French and Indian War. Next, the king made the proclamation of 1763 and started charging taxes. So the colonists got mad. Finally, they got mad enough to start a war with the king. So sequence, we learned sequence. The purpose is to explain events in order. Words, transition words would be before, first, next, then, last, and after. And then problem and solution. You have a problem, and the story tells the solution. The purpose is to show a problem and how it's solved. Transition words would be problem, solution, difficulty, the answer is, things like that. So text structures of writing. You'll be using text structures as you write things too. So it's good to know about these. Well, let's go ahead and let's do a rereading today of, that's not what I want. That's what I want. Of our story, The Science Behind Sight. Okay, by Louise Spilsbury. It's kind of long, so get comfortable. And I'm going to read it to you today. You read it to yourself yesterday. I'm going to read it to you today, and then you have a test on this tomorrow. So make sure you're listening. Here we go. Seeing things. Think about how you're reading the words on this page. Sorry, I should have told you before I started. You need to get your reading book and open it to page 108 so you can read along with me, please. Think about how you are reading the words on this page. You can read these words because your eyes can see. Seeing things helps us find out about the world around us. By the way, talking about eyes that see, how did you like the Bill Nye video yesterday called Eyeballs? It was really interesting and really gross, wasn't it? The sense of sight. We have 5 senses to help us understand our world. Sight, smell, touch, hearing, and taste. Sight is very important. It shows us sizes, shapes, and colors. It tells us where we're going and how far away things are. It helps us read, play, learn, watch things, and more. The light and dark. We can see when it's light, but it's hard to see well in the dark. When we go into a room with no lights or windows, it is dark. The room and the things in it look black because there's no light to help us see them. Okay, we don't need to do that. There we go. Sorry, guys, I didn't mean to make this thing pop up over here. Let's see if I can get it off. I don't think I can. Oh, well, we're going to read on. When it's light and sight. So here's our heading on this page, remember? Here's our subheading. Here's the topics, the topic and the subtopics, heading and subheadings, you might say. When it's dark at bedtime and you want to read, you turn your lamp on. We use light from lamps to see when it's dark. Luminous things. Things that give off light are luminous, one of our vocabulary words. The sun is luminous. We use light from the sun to see things during the day. Lamps, fires, televisions, and flashlights are luminous too. Making shadows. Light from luminous objects travel in straight lines, can move through clear things such as air, water, and glass. That's how window lets light inside our home so we can see. We say clear things are, another one of our vocabulary words, transparent. There we go. I just saw how to do that. Clear things are transparent. You can see through them. If you close your curtains, you stop light from getting inside because the curtains are opaque. Opaque things do not let light through. That's not one of our vocabulary words from this week, but we're going to learn it in science. And so we see, as we did the other day, the light passing through the transparent window, but there's a shadow on the ground because these bars on the window are not transparent. They are opaque. And the tree is opaque, so it creates a shadow too. It stops the light from traveling. Reflecting light. We see things when they give off light or when light bounces off of them. Reflecting light. We see luminous objects because they give off light. However, most things we see are not luminous. Tables, chairs, soccer balls, and fields do not give off light. Instead, they reflect it. Light bounces off surfaces and objects around us, and we see them when some of that light, reflected light, enters our eyes. More light, more sight. We can see better when it's lighter. When you're in a dark room, a candle illuminates, another one of our vocabulary words, only a small area, but if you turn on a ceiling light, it lights up the whole room. Some surfaces reflect light better than others. Black fabric does not reflect light well. Light reflects best off shiny surfaces, such as mirrors. How our eyes work. You learned a lot about that yesterday in the Bill Nye video. An eye is shaped like a round ball. Most of it's inside your head. Do you know what the outer parts of the eyes, the parts that you can see, do? Well, let's learn about them. Eye care. Eyelids can close quickly to protect your eyes. When an eyelid blinks, it washes the surface of the eye with tears. Tears wash dust and other things off the eye. Tears leave your eye through a tiny tube called a tear duct, letting light in. The color part of your eye is the iris. The black spot in the middle of the iris is an opening called the pupil. The pupil lets light into the eye. In bright light, your eye needs to take in less light, so the pupil becomes smaller. In low light, the pupil becomes bigger to take in more light. Look at your eyes in a mirror and then close them. Open them quickly to see your pupils getting smaller in the bright light. And here's a text feature that has some diagrams here. A graphic feature, I should say, has a diagram pointing to the parts of our eyes: the eyelid, the pupil, the iris, and the tear duct. So a graphic feature in this informational text to help us understand what we read about. Light and lenses. Light passes into the eye through a lens. A lens works a bit like a magnifying glass. When you look through a magnifying glass, it makes things very clear. In the same way, the lens focuses light so that what we see is clear. It focuses the image onto the retina. The retina is the surface at the back of the eyeball. The image that the lens sends to the retina is upside down. The brain turns it the right way up so we know what we're looking at. So down here it shows us the light coming in through the pupil and this lens. And on the retina, it makes it upside down, but the optic nerve flips it over and puts it right way up when it gets to our brain, so we know what we're seeing. Messages to the brain. The retina sends messages about what your eyes see to your brain. First, it changes the colors and shapes in the image into a millions of signals. Then it sends these signals to the brain along a pathway called the optic nerve. The brain figures out what the signal means. Lens and distance. Look away from this book and focus on something far away. You'll not feel it, but the shape of your lenses change. The lens becomes thinner when the eye looks at things close up, and it becomes thicker when the eye looks at things far away. So when you're looking far away at something, that lens gets thicker. It's kind of like magnify it so you can see it better. When you're looking at something up close, your lens gets thinner. Pretty amazing, isn't it? What about animals? Animals can see too. Animal sight. Some animals see the world in a different way than we do. Our eyes are on the front of our heads. Rabbits and horses have eyes on the side of their heads. What's the difference? So here's some of that text structure we talk about. It's going to compare and contrast eyes on the front to the eyes on the side. Close one eye and try to touch the ends of two pencils together. Why is it so hard? With only one eye, you cannot judge exactly how far away things are. With two eyes at the front, each eye sees a slightly different view. The brain compares the two views to figure out exactly how far away something is and how fast something is moving. Foxes, lions, and most other predators, animals that hunt other animals, have two eyes on the front of their head, like us. This helps them to hunt and catch animals. You cannot judge distance very well with just one eye. Try playing with a ball with one eye shut. You'll find that you're more likely to get hit by the ball than catch it. Be careful not to hurt yourself. And of course, some animals have eyes on the side. Animals with one eye on each side of their head can see when a predator comes up behind them. The downside is that the two eyes work separately. Because the images that the eyes see are so different, the brain cannot compare them to figure out exactly how far away things are. So you and I, we have two eyes, and they look straight ahead. We can turn them a little bit and look side to side, but they're in front of our face. Imagine if they were beside your ears on the side of your head. Then this eye would be looking at a flag and a wall and a chair and outside in the hall. And this eye would be looking over here at this window, and I can see a car going by and a truck in the parking lot. So imagine if my brain had to take everything on this side and everything on this side. It's seeing two different things. So that's totally different from how we see, because we see straight in front of us. So this wildebeest that the lion is chasing, it's good to have eyes on the side of its head. It can see if something's coming from the side to get it, but it also gives it a little more field of vision. He can see farther behind him. That lion is just focused on the wildebeest. He's ready to eat. Seeing at night. A cat's eyes glow in the dark because they have a part behind their retinas that works a bit like a mirror. It reflects light back onto the retina. Because more light is reflected onto the retina, the cat can see. I can't see that word. That's why cats and some other animals can see better in low light than we can. And as we look at this picture down here and see that scary glowing-eyed cat, it's because of the little mirror thing behind its retina that reflects the light back. So it's like the light coming in, it's shining it back through its eyes. Pupil power. To let more light into your room, you open the curtains wide. When it's nearly dark, cats' pupils open very wide to let as much light as possible to let as much light in as possible. In bright light, their pupils are very narrow. This stops their retinas from being hurt too much by light. So the retina and the pupil work together. The pupil, the dark part of the eye, can open very wide, or it can close very narrow, depending on how much light it needs. Which of these cats' eyes would be looking into a bright light? It'd be this one, wouldn't it? Because it doesn't need, your pupils get smaller if light's shining right in. If you're in the dark, your pupils get big to try to take in more light. Okay, wearing glasses. Some people wear glasses to help them see clearly. People who are nearsighted can see things that are close clearly, but things farther away look blurry. People who are farsighted can see things that are far away clearly, but things up close look blurry. Wearing glasses helps these people to see better. Put a straw in a glass of water and look at it from the side. At certain angles, the straw looks broken. That's because the water in the glass bends light as you are looking at it. Bending light is called refraction. That's what lenses do. We're going to find out. They bend the light one way or another. Why do people need glasses? Well, the lens in your eye refracts light to focus in on the retina. Sight problems happen when a person's lens does not refract light onto the retina properly. So we talked about this the other day. If you can't see things far away very well, your lens is not projecting the light that's coming in far enough back onto your retina. And if you see things blurry up close, then the lens is letting too much light or letting it go too far behind your retina. It's not focused. You have to have a focused spot. And neither one of these are focused. So if our lens is not doing its job, then you've got to get another lens to help it. The lenses on glasses. How do glasses work? Glasses and contact lenses work by refraction. Lenses in glasses are made from pieces of transparent plastic or glass. These pieces are curved so the lenses can bend light. Lenses bend light to focus it on the right spot on the retina. This allows the wearer to see clearly. And so we have concave lenses, which spreads the light out a little bit. And we have convex lenses, which makes the light come closer together. So your glasses are probably one of these two types of lenses. And we're not going to go through all this again about the pinhole camera. And I think that finishes our story. So you'll have a test on the story tomorrow. If you'd like to go back and reread it yourself one time, you are certainly welcome to. Before you do, though, I want to look at one thing, thinking about our writing that we're going to be doing pretty soon, getting started on. You don't have to do anything for me today that you have to turn in. But I want you to think about, like we talked about when we read Apex Predators, think about what your favorite animal might be, or an animal that you'd like to know more about. Can you get a picture of that animal? Use your sight. Use your senses now. Think about your senses. Okay, so what would that animal look like? What do you think it would feel like? What would it smell like? We're not going to taste it unless it's for supper, right? So let's think about these three questions. And this is just for free writing. That's nothing that you have to turn in, but just It's kind of like jotting down some ideas as you're thinking about an animal you might like to write about this during these 3 weeks. Here's some questions you could ask yourself. What did you notice first about the animal? Well, I'm just going to use my favorite animal, frogs, as an example. I noticed how far they could jump. I liked watching the frogs jump. What might a reader most want to know about the animal? Maybe how far they can jump, how their tongues work. How do they get such a long tongue inside their mouth? What else? I've heard some frogs are poisonous. What kind of frogs are poisonous? A reader might like to know about. Can frogs live in water and out of water? They might like to know things like that. What's the animal look like? Well, that's when we use our eyesight, don't we? Well, they're different colors. Frogs are different colors. Some look really slimy and some don't. Some are big, some are little. So think about your favorite animal and how would you answer these questions? What did you notice first about the animal? What might a reader most want to know about the animal? And what does the animal look like? If you could just jot down some thoughts about those 3 questions, then you'll have a head start on our next writing. You're going to be writing an informational text yourself, describing this animal that you have. Okay, so that's our lesson for today. What we're going to do today for your assignments, if you want to reread your story, you can. We're going to have a spelling practice, number 2. So we'll take the next 10 spelling words, choose the one that's spelled correctly, and also we'll do one more little activity with writing complete sentences. So you have 2 little assignments under this today. Get them done and have a great day.